Hello, everyone. And I wanted to say something. It's it's like really weird. It was before I made my first video that like the Mario Kart episode. It was before I posted that. Something weird happened. All right, here's what happened. I recently bought the Spongebob movie game. The 2004 movie. Um, I got it that year, but then last year I sold it for like, I don't know, like 10, 15 bucks, and it was a pretty good deal because normally it would cost like $2.50. So I wanted it back because I saw a video of it and it kind of got me in the mood to play it again. So I went to GameStop and they said they had no copies of it because I don't know, it was old or something. But they said we do have one copy, but he just said and then he showed me it. There was no cover. It was a black like disc tape, and it was written in Sharpie. I could barely read it, but he said it says the SpongeBob movie 2003. I'm like 2003, but 2004 is when it came out. He said, I know, this is the staff version. I was a little creeped out because I was like, how do people get that? He said, do you want to buy it or not? And I said, well, how much is it? 50 cents. I was a little stunned because normally something that wasn't supposed to be released would be at least $100, maybe more. But I bought it anyway because I'm like, wow, is this guy kind of like stupid or something? He doesn't know what 50 cents is, so I just bought it. When I got home, the game worked perfectly, and I was like amazed. Some things were different, like the buttons were green when they weren't pressed, and then they were red when they were pressed, which is like the opposite. The jellyfish moved a little weird. The treasure chests were actually tokens, and the um the Goofy Goober tokens were treasure chests, which I thought was pretty funny. But towards the end of the first level, no cheese. Um, man, hold on. I guess really don't explain this part. There's this one glitch where I always do in this level in the old version, the 2004 version, where you bounce on the springboard at the end in a certain way where it doesn't bounce you far enough to the token. You just like land on the Krusty Krab or next to who is it, Mr. Krabs, and then you can walk into like the fans where you're not supposed to walk. So I did anyway. But I know it was a staff version, like maybe they weren't finished yet, but it didn't look like they were messing around. It looked like they were purposely doing this. Um, the eye, everyone's eyes were pitch black. I couldn't see their white part of their eye. It was like their pupil was the entire eye part, and it was really scary because they were crying blood. The blood was moving, and it was shiny. And I was really scared because how do you make something in CGI that's that shiny? It looked like you could actually touch it. I mean, I even touched the screen to make sure it wasn't real. That's pretty stupid, but something caught my eye. Something I will never forget. Patrick was like when I was looking at the everyone's people, I turned around, and he was in the distance, really, really far away. So I was a bit skeptical because I didn't think I could walk out that far and try to get him, but for some reason I could. Normally there's like a bounds area where like you can't get out, but there wasn't this time. You could walk out to him. I had to walk like 2 minutes to get to him. And when I got to him, it was it was like he was still in the CGI creative program. His arms were sticking out. He was like in a very stiff position, and his eyes were gouged out. He had no eyes, and it was very realistic inside his body. His mouth, his like jaw was broken. He didn't have a jaw. His tongue was almost ripped in half. His tongue was dangling out of his mouth. His teeth were on the ground. I could clearly see what it was. And he had no pants on. I looked behind him. This is gonna sound a little funny, but he had no ass. Like, I could see his tailbone sticking out with the spinal cord. Pieces of the spinal cord were on the ground. So I tried to run away from him, but when I turned around, he was following me. And, oh my god. It's just, when he started following me, the No Cheese song, like the stuff, it it was playing slower than before, and it had like a deeper tone to it, which I thought was horrifying. So I tried to get back into the level, which I did, where like all the jellyfish are and everything's happy. When I started to break some boxes, the weights came out, but I could walk through the weights. That wasn't that scary because apparently I haven't collected one weight yet, because apparently the software guys forgot to put that you could collect them. So I could just walk through them, and when I went to the start menu, oh my god, I hate explaining this part. When I got to the start menu, like, when Patrick says like, let's get it on, instead of the beach background with like the floaty going up and down like the loading screen when it says press start to begin, it was a close-up of Patrick's face with his eyes gouged out. And it was so realistic. It was like someone took a real picture and just morphed a human face into Patrick's head. It was just disgusting. I mean, I was so scared that I even threw my GameCube controller at the TV. I had a round screen, so it didn't affect it. But I tried to press start again. It started, but the text was different. Instead of new game, it said leave now. And then on the load game thing, there was a save file named Spongebob. And I know this sounds a lot like Ben Drowned CreepyPasta, but it's totally different. I started to play SpongeBob, the saved file, because the kid looked like he was very far from beating the game. He had like, I think 15 tokens out of the 70. I think there's 70 tokens now. But when I started the game, it said I had 666 tokens. 666 lives. And 666 weights. It was horrifying. I quit the game and I never played again. That's the end.